Welcome to 1 Million Cups. Every week we bring the entrepreneurs and community leaders together for a weekly program where we can learn from some new entrepreneurs and understand their journey. Real quick, how many people are first-timers? Oh, great. Thank you. Couple quick things. Leslie Scott, can you raise your hand, please? Leslie? Okay. Leslie is involved in a high school hackathon. She's looking for a space where she can have the hackathon. It needs to be 24-hour accessibility with Wi-Fi. 100 people just went up. And when is this going to be happening? February 15th and 16th. She's looking for a location that can house that for 24 hours straight. Okay, so if you know of anything or have an idea, please contact Leslie. I want to call your attention to the new announcement page. This is going to replace our mid-morning announcements that we've been doing in the past. If you do have an announcement that you want us to bring to everyone's attention, please send it to one of the organizers, and we will make sure we can get it on the announcement sheet next time. And I want to thank Toby over at Media Head for providing these for us. So, Toby, can you raise your hand for me? All right. Toby's right here. If you have any questions for Toby, please see him. We're ready to introduce our first presentation. The ladies are from Hangups in KC. I'm going to hand it off to them, and thanks for coming out.
Good morning and welcome to 1 Million Cups. We would like to thank 1 Million Cups and the Kauffman Foundation for the opportunity to present today. I'm Carolyn Adams, and this is Christy Jurgensen, and we are Hangups in KC. We love to repurpose, and we're going to show you a little bit about what we do now.
Finding the materials to make our pieces is like going on a fantastic treasure hunt. We love searching through the antique stores, vintage markets, thrift stores, and estate sales. As we wander the stores, we'll see something that inspires us. Sometimes we can't believe the things that we find.
We love the creative process that includes working with power tools. I mean, who doesn't love working with power tools? My favorite tool is the Dremel, but we have a drill press, soldering irons, hammers, pliers, and all kinds of other tools that we use.
We're always looking for great leather belts.
Spoons and forks really inspire us. And the key to our hearts are actually keys.
We love the look and feel of vintage books.
And who doesn't love antique typewriters? Instead of letting them collect dust, we make beautiful jewelry out of them.
Buttons and vintage items can be given new life. We can make jewelry out of just about anything.
Well, maybe not that. So Christy and I are both seasoned entrepreneurs. I had a human resources consulting business just north of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I worked with small to mid-sized companies who did not have in-house human resources departments. When my husband was offered a job in Kansas City, we decided to make the move. I was really sad to give up a business that I loved so much and I'd worked really hard to build, but I knew that eventually I would reinvent myself again, and here I am.
And I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Graphic Design and have been working as a designer for over 25 years. I've worked with advertising agencies and printers and have started my own graphic design freelance business shortly after graduation. I grew up in Southern California but moved to the Kansas City area in 1999 and have been able to build a set of clients here in the Kansas City area and continue to work as a designer today. Carolyn and I met through a mutual friend a couple of years ago and discovered we both sort of had an unfulfilled artsy side. We decided to take a couple of jewelry classes together and found a passion and drive for creating in both of us. In fact, we created so many pieces that our husband said, maybe you should start selling them. So we started selling at local craft fairs, and we have moved into selling in boutiques and have launched a website and a blog. Currently, we're in 5 Kansas City area boutiques and are hoping to enter the wholesale market this year.
So we've had an incredible journey, but we felt like we could do more. We felt like something was missing. We are both passionate about literacy, so it was an easy decision to contact Carrie Coogan from the Literacy Kansas City, and we're going to let her tell you a little bit more about our partnership now.
I'm Carrie Coogan. I'm the Executive Director of Literacy Kansas City, and we're a nonprofit organization that helps people 16 years and older in the metro community learn how to read. And I got a phone call from Carolyn and Christy about wanting to donate the proceeds from their Literacy Kansas City collection line. They were going to create refurbished jewelry for Literacy Kansas City and donate the money to us. I was so surprised and so grateful, because really it's hard to get people motivated and engaged and interested in helping adults learn how to read. And what they do with their jewelry, they make it fun, they make it interesting, they reach out to people that love books, that love book quotes, and that love refurbished jewelry. And it's just a whole nother way to reach out to people to talk about our organization and what we do, and really get people interested and engaged. I'm so grateful for what they're doing, and just look at some of their work. It's beautiful, and not only that, it's refurbished, and it would appeal to anyone who loves reading, who loves books, who has a favorite author or favorite title. They can literally create something unique for you, someone in your family, your boss, anyone who loves reading. And all of that is to give back to people who don't know how to read. I can't think of a better partnership. I'm Carrie Coogan. I'm the Executive Director of
Marketing is an important aspect in any business, and we market through a variety of methods. We have our own website, hangupsinkc.com. We have a blog where we share information about us, DIYs, and other artists that inspire us. We also have accounts on Facebook and Twitter, an Etsy store, and an Instagram account. And of course, we market through word of mouth at special events we attend and arts and crafts shows that we are participating in. Jewelry is a multi-billion-dollar business, and there's fierce competition out there. So what is it that makes us unique? Well, each piece we create has its own story. It's a unique piece of art, handcrafted by us, out of items with age and character. We do not mass produce. We can take an item that has special meaning to you and turn it into a beautiful custom piece of jewelry. For example, say you have a spoon that belonged to your grandmother. We can take that spoon, turn it into a beautiful piece of jewelry to give your daughter on her wedding day. As we continue to grow, we would like to maintain this level of quality and customization. Our jewelry is fun, inspiring, and unique.
So we have a wish list for 2014. We feel like we're ready to move into the wholesale market. And in order to do that, we need to put together an effective contract, so we're looking for advice. We are also looking for contacts to businesses who might be interested in buying our jewelry wholesale. Finally, on this year's wish list, we want to increase traffic to our website. We know that there's no magic answer to this question, but if you have any advice, we're open to it. We'd appreciate advice from the community. We are so excited about our business, and we love it so much, and we're so appreciative of all you coming out today to hear a little bit more about our story. Thank you again to 1 Million Cups.
Thank you.
All right, who has questions? Put up your hand. We'll get to you right here.
Do you have aspirations of taking your customized jewelry and maybe having a supplier somewhere in Asia create it during the mass produce it and then move it off?
No, we're moving towards the artsy side. We're not really interested in mass producing at any point. Mass producing to a point where we're, delivering to a store, that's great, but we make every single item.
We have a few questions in the middle here. I saw this hand first.
Yes. Do you have a studio we can come to and look at?
We have studios, but they're not open to the public. We do have stores. We're in 5 local stores.
Okay.
And we have done home parties in the past if someone wants to see how we do something.
Very good.
We also have our website, which features quite a bit of our jewelry. So
Well,
that you can purchase
you
online.
mentioned if I had a piece that I wanted to have something made
Oh.
for my wife.
You're welcome to come. We each have a studio space in our homes, and you can
Okay.
come to that studio space. We're more than welcome. We just don't have a brick and
Yeah, that was
mortar.
my real question.
Yeah.
In other words, can I sit with you and say, this
Oh,
is
yes.
how I want
Oh,
this
exactly.
done?
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's what we want. That's
Very good.
Exactly what we want.
Question right here.
It seems like what's unique about your product, I'm over here to your left, is the fact that you two are inspired, you're artists, you're gifted at what you do. How are you going to take that skill set into a mass production mode and not lose the unique quality that is the product that you two produce?
Well, that is something that we are going to have to struggle through. The mass producing is not something, we don't want somebody else making the jewelry. We do believe that we could create maybe 500 to 1,000 pieces given a certain amount of time that we could supply to a store. If we were able to get to that point, that is when we would be able to put aside the maintenance of the website, the accounting, all those other things to somebody else, which we are doing right now, and focus on actual creating. That's what we want to do. So I hope that answered your question.
Another question in the middle.
Actually, I have two questions. But the first one is maybe more a suggestion. We had an entrepreneur here at 1 Million Cups several months ago and had a business called the Vow Exchange. And she does, weddings, basically. There'd be a really interesting network for you.
That would be a great connection,
I
yes.
think it'd be a great connection. So I would suggest you do that. And if you need help with that, somebody here can help, I'm sure.
Okay.
The second one, did you say you are open to doing home parties?
We are.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Question for you all the way here in the back, next to the projector.
Are the locations where you do these studios, are they on the website? And is that how someone can find you?
You can give us a call. We have, multiple ways to contact us. The stores where we sell it are on our website. I don't believe our home addresses are on the website, but we could, we would hook up a meeting with you and.
Right up front.
On the literary side, are you focusing on public domain material, or are you open to working with new writers?
Oh, sure. I mean, anything literary we're open to. We enjoy, both of us enjoy reading, and so when we made this connection, it was like this amazing opportunity to take something we loved and then turn it into our business. So yes, we're open to any suggestions, any new art, authors, anything.
You might connect with the Writer's Place and some of the poets who are looking for another medium for their work.
Oh, okay.
And perhaps that would add
quotes
to the keepsake quality of their work,
Great.
those who are trying to break into publishing.
That's
Great,
a
great idea.
suggestion.
Thank you.
I've got a question right here for you.
So if I heard you right, you are not going outside of the city for sales, is that correct?
We sell across the world because we're online, right?
Okay.
So,
Well, my question is, I have a sister who has a unique boutique over by Iowa City, Iowa. Do you,
sure.
and how would be the best way for her to get in touch with you? Of course, you're not going to turn it down, right?
Absolutely. No, we,
Yes.
just our contact information is on our website. So just have her give us a call or send us an email. That would be great.
Yes.
And for those type of contacts, do you go to their place to show your wares, or how do you work that?
Typically, we would, we would probably want to go there just to see the store, et cetera. But ongoing, you would mail. You would be sending the stuff by mail.
Via mail, yes.
Yeah.
Gentleman here in the center has a question.
So when you put your goods in a boutique, do you sell them to the boutique, or are they on consignment?
It's a really good question. That's the difference between consignment and wholesale. So at this point, we have 100% consignment contracts where we own the jewelry, it stays in their boutique, what doesn't sell comes back to us, and they take a percentage of the sales. We're looking to keep that in place, but also to move in the wholesale market, in which case a business would buy our jewelry and they sell it, they own it.
Next question in the middle.
Your business name, Hang-Ups,
I'm just not sure what the connection is from the name of the business to what you produce.
It hangs. Our jewelry actually hangs on you, and it's whimsical. It's fun. We have a lot of hang-ups. So
That's
yeah,
kind of
honestly,
where
it was
that
just-
started.
It was just a fun kind of name, and we've had some fun with it.
It also didn't limit us to just jewelry, and we have explored outside of that. I do some of the book pages that had the prints on those. I actually carve the stamps that I print onto the book pages, and so I have note cards, I've done journals, and I've done prints. So those prints also hang, so it qualifies.
All right, I've got a question. So tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey. How did you get from whatever you were doing to where you are now?
Well, like I mentioned, when we met, we kind of both were sitting at a table together and said, you know, I've always wanted to learn how to solder. So we took a soldering class. And then all of a sudden you become obsessed with anything that can fit in a 1-inch square, because you can solder that and make a necklace out of it. And so between doing that, and then we would see something else, and like when we saw the first, stamped spoon, it was like, we could do that. And so it's just has kind of grown. We went from making things that I consider more craft show items to more pieces of artwork, and that's what we would like to strive for, is more of creating a piece of artwork, a piece that has meaning versus a little soldered piece. Now, a little soldered piece can be great. It can have a quote in it, which makes it a little more personalized. But so we've kind of grown by being inspired by others. Do you have anything to add?
We have, like anybody else going through a journey, we've had growing pains. We've made some not great decisions. We've learned a ton. But through it all, we have had so much fun. And I think that is what has maintained this business. And we have grown. We surprise ourselves every year by how much we grow and how much we get done, because it is just the two of us. So did that answer the question, the journey?
Sure.
Sure. Sure.
It's always exciting.
Looks confused.
I've got a question for you to your right. Taking a product that's individual online is a tricky process. Obviously, you've got a lot of steps involved. Could you share with us your decisions and what platform you used to take it online, and how you went about that?
Well, we are blessed that my husband is a software techie, and he helped us quite a bit. We went to a conference last year called Craftcation, of all things, but it was an amazing conference, and they really helped us to decide that, yes, we needed to have a website, and we needed to be able to sell online. So we did some research, found a web hosting site. My husband helped us with that, and found a template, and basically built a website that we were happy with. He would get frustrated with me. I'm a designer. I want it to look pretty. So I would come in and say, make this blue, make this, this. And he goes, no, 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 no. The engine needs to run before you can turn the air conditioning on. So that's kind of our little motto, is the engine needs to run before you can put air conditioning or paint the car. So that was a learning experience for us to take that online. But it's an involved process. Once you have a website and a template, then you have to take pictures of your product. You have to enter those pictures, enter descriptions, put pricing on it, set up how you want people to pay for it. So it's been a learning process, but it's been a really great one, and it's exciting that we were able to launch the website in, what did we launch? August of this year. So that kind of answer that.
I've got a question for you right here up front.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So you asked for suggestions for driving traffic to your website.
Yes.
And I loved your video this morning, and with a little fine tuning, it could be a webinar where you're driving people at the end with your web address and so on. And then not just posting it on your own website, but all of your partners, all the shops that are showing your items and selling them. Etsy, certainly, not just your name, but a webinar where they can look at your process. And then the literacy side. You mentioned home parties, which are pretty time intensive, but I was thinking, wouldn't it be fun to have like a kit and do, help me with the online where you, Skyping with classrooms around the country. Often schools will have like kids bring in $5 to do a project or whatever. Why not make a piece of jewelry which can drive things beyond where they are now? And you could do that around the world. Like you say, you're selling around the world. You can sell around the world on the literacy to school kids that will take it home and give it to their mothers or grandmothers.
Great
or whatever.
idea. That's a fantastic idea.
Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you.
Question right over here.
So you have a lot of unique pieces, and you probably continue to develop more and more pieces. How do you keep up with your website, the maintenance, to make sure that your pieces that you are creating that are new get up there in a timely manner? It just seems like that would be a maintenance nightmare.
An ongoing issue, and that is 50% of our time is spent administratively. So if what we were saying, if we actually got some nice wholesale deals going, we would actually hire someone to do our admin work, because photographing and then uploading that information to the website is incredibly time consuming. Right now we do it ourselves, and we're kind of responsible for our own items and how much is up there. So really whoever has more on there had more time.
If anybody wants to do that, have it. We'd much rather be creating jewelry than maintaining a website. So.
Question here in the back from Tracy.
I want to thank whoever tweeted she has her hand up. Let's see where this goes. So I love this kind of jewelry, and I own thousands of pieces like it. And I'm a Doubleday author, and I have a client who once was fined $10,000 just for putting a Superman cape in a window in New York City.
Yeah.
Let's talk about copyright infringement, because if a client says, my favorite quotes from The Prophet, or if you did something like thoughts or things, choose the good ones, that's copyrighted by tut.com. So, and the minute you put that on Facebook, you have a huge lawsuit. What do you do about telling people no?
That's exactly what we do, is tell people no. When we first started doing craft fairs, a lot of people say, oh, do you have pieces for KU or pieces for that? And we said, no, that those items are copyrighted. We don't want to fall into that mess where we're being sued by somebody. And with my graphic design business, I know about copywriting. I know that things get lifted all the time. So we are aware of that, and we will not use other people's images or other quotes that have not been approved. I mean, most of the quotes that we use are so old that copyright is gone from those. But yes, we are aware of that situation and don't want that problem. So we'll stay away from it.
Another question over here to your left.
Hi, good morning. So obviously from the artistic side, I think that it's fantastic looking product, and I'm sure you've enjoyed a lot of success selling it directly to the end user. But as we go into the wholesale business, obviously you get into this kind of boring, unartistic science of profit margins for your dealers. So your dealers are going to be around the country, around the world, and they're going to buy the product from you, and then they have to mark it up, and then you have to establish a retail price. Are you able to discuss any margin concepts that you have for those retailers?
It's a really difficult question. I think at this point, we determine pricing based on how much the materials and the time that went in to creating an item. And as you can see, we use so many different materials that it's an accessibility of materials, because we're not using just a plain standard anything. I think that is something that is going to be a little bit of a growing pain for us. We're going to have to learn a lot more about that. It's something that, if you have any advice.
Yeah, this is a whole new venture. The wholesale side's a whole new venture for us that we're interested in learning about and hopefully experiencing.
Question here to your left.
Real quick question. How much is the jewelry? What's the price range, low to high?
Anywhere from, say, $20 to $60. $20 to $60, yeah. Yeah, it is affordable, yeah.
And we want to keep it that way too. I mean, as much as we want each piece to be a piece of artwork, we don't want to price ourselves out of being cost effective.
Next question in the middle, back here.
I was just wondering where most of your sales come from. If 50% of your time is spent on your website, is that where most of your sales are coming from, or these 5 boutiques?
You know,
and what are the 5 boutiques?
Okay, well, first of all, our 5 boutiques, we're located down at Lucky Dog Vintage down in the West Bottoms. Amazing store. Visit it if you haven't. It's amazing. It's big. We also sell at West Side Story, a beautiful store in the West Side, downtown here. We sell at Ugly Glass and Company in Independence. It's all handmade stuff there. And we sell at Catfish and Tater, a clothing boutique in Liberty. And we also sell at Lulu's, another boutique off 64th Street in the Northland. Sorry, what was the other part of the question?
As far as sales go, we're wanting to build the website sales. No, I would not say that a majority of our sales come from the website yet. That's what we're hoping to transfer to. Probably in the last year, a majority of our sales probably took place at arts and crafts festivals. Yeah. You're in a contained space with people who are there to shop. But we'd like to kind of move away from that and move into the online, and that's why we're looking to build that online business.
Question here.
Good morning. We've covered that you don't want to mass produce and outsource, but seeing as how you'll probably reach a critical mass once you remove your administrative duties, if you make 1,000 units a year, that's about $60,000 from your price points. Do you ever see hiring additional help or having maybe artistic interns or something of that sort to kind of have some economies of scale?
Yeah, we've talked about having somebody help us. We're actually maybe stamping the piece, and then they would, string it onto a chain or whatever, or make the cords or something along those lines. So yes, we have discussed that. It's a dream at this point.
All right, you're almost finished.
Okay.
Done well, but you get the final word. The question we always like to ask is, what can we as a community do to help Hang-Ups succeed wildly beyond your wildest dreams?
Check us out.
A lot of wildly.
Thank you, so wildly. We would love for you to check us out. Go online. If you like what you see on our website, please just tell your friends and family about it. If you know someone at a company, we were thinking, we're dreaming big here, but can you imagine if our Literacy Kansas City collection was sold in the gift department at Barnes & Noble? How great that would be for us and Literacy Kansas City. Because, when we make money, they make money. So, and it's a great organization. So, just connections. That would be great.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we've changed our announcement format, so I need a cheat sheet. So, all right, now normally we do 15 minutes of announcements some days, which has been getting increasingly unwieldy. So we are now going to the paper format. So general announcements are going to be on this sheet every week, powered by Mediahead. But I do got, that's great English. I do have a couple of extras. The Sprint Accelerator kickoff starts tonight. Hello. So if you're interested in that, head off to it. 1 Billion Bits, another local organization. Check it out on Silicon Prairie News for more info. So if you're interested in 1 Billion Bits, or you regularly read SPN, you'll know all about it. One thing I want to throw out there is, hey, we love our friends here at Kaufman who allow us to have this space. So a couple of things. We don't like to leave a bunch of litter for their fine staff to clean up. You don't pay them, right? So a couple of things. If you can please take your coffee cups or your teacups and deposit them on one of the trays or in the trash that they've so conveniently provided for you, that would be helpful. And also, these are new announcement format. We're going to try to be good and collect them all at the end. So you will see a box on the door on the way out. Please do put them in the box so we can recycle them properly. All right, So, God, that's really weird. It's like 90 seconds of announcements. I'm not used to it. Okay, so this next one, dynamic athletics. Now, this is really, really exciting. It definitely tickles the techie nerd bone in me. So, anybody seen that Hobbit movie over the holidays? One person. I don't even believe that. Well, for those of you that never have seen the movie or never even heard of it, there's they use a lot of technology in there called motion capture, where they put an actor and they cover them with reflective dots, and then that's how they make the creepy Gollum guy move around. So that's really cool. But I would normally think that's a bazillion dollars to build that kind of thing. Well, these guys with Dynamic Athletics have that technology. In fact, I was talking to them before we started, and they said, "Oh, that sort of thing, that's easy." So they do amazing things with motion capture for athletics, for military applications, for health, just really incredible stuff. And look at them, they're up there with a headset and everything. This is gonna be incredible. So please welcome Patrick Modi and Tom Eberlein.
Hi. First off, can everyone hear me? I'm gonna try and talk loud. We're extremely excited to be here at A Million Cups, and you're going to find out why. But just to kind of kickstart this, my name is Patrick Moody, and I founded a company called Dynamic Athletics Research Institute. We like to call ourselves DARI for short, and you're going to hear that a lot through the rest of this presentation, so keep that in the back of your mind. But, what exactly does DARI do? Well, simply put, we track you. Not so simply put, we're a very sophisticated data management system, okay? How do we do this? Well, we take complex biomechanical data from a 3D motion capture system, and we combine it with our patented web-based software called the DARI Vault. And by doing that, we'll remove the complexity of the data and get you something meaningful and simple in one report. So when evaluating human movement, we want to remove the subjective evaluation and replace it with an objective evaluation. Oh, and by the way, we can do all of this in the matter of just a couple of minutes, and that's what we're actually going to do right here, right now. We're going to do a live demo from our Lenexa office. So what you're going to see come up here is actually a view of our motion capture studio. Someone is going to walk into the space, and you're going to see their cloud starting being assimilated right next to them. And all she has to do is strike a T-pose, and now she's connected, acquired with the system, and as she moves, so does the figure. Now, how cool is that, guys? What we're going to do right now is we're going to collect data from this location, process it on the vault, and call a report right here, right now. Everyone ready? All right, we're going to start this demo in 3, 2, 1, go. He's going to simply hit record. They're going to do a jump. He's going to hit stop, simple video tools. That data file is now going to be stored locally on a computer, and it could be anywhere in the world, wherever this system is. They're then going to log on to the fully HIPAA-compliant DARI Vault, and they're going to upload that file. That file is going to be sent to our downtown server racks in Kansas City. From there, it's going to be processed. Every file takes approximately 20 to 30 seconds to process. We're talking about 280 plus variables with tens of thousands of data points per variable, and that's one file. Once that's up there and processing all of this data, now we're going to actually bring up our local web browser here and call a report on that. It's going to take around 20 to 30 seconds, but they're going to use their unique login, find this patient, and call a very specific report, a vertical jump report, which you just saw in our Lenexa office. Once he does this, it's going to pull up the report, again, in about 20 to 30 seconds. Once this runs, you're going to be able to see, wow, a branded report. This just happened. This is not pre-baked at all. We have written statements on logic. We even have heat mapping logic of what went on, even as far down to as graphs and tables of the data that was just collected. What we're trying to show you here is the power of this. This is something that's very customizable, very unique to our end users. They build their own reports. We do not expect our end users to adopt our philosophy. We want to take their philosophy and make it come to life. And as you can see, off-site and on-site, think about telemedicine. Think about being in Western Kansas. Now you can actually consult with whatever doctor you want, wherever in the world, with precise millimeter accuracy data. Now, hamster's starting running, right? You're thinking about all the applications that you could do and what you're going to do with it. But we've already attacked this from 3 different verticals of sports, healthcare, and military. In sports specifically, we work with professional teams or athletes, to even ESPN to track performance to show, hey, how well are they doing? Let's track improvements. To healthcare, working with Cerner, working with orthopedic hospitals to track longitudinal therapy. How's your rehab going? To even the VA system in the military saying, we have a wounded vet coming back. Let's get him back to shape. This is all that's possible. And kind of to expound on this further, I'm going to redirect the conversation to our clinical director, Dr. Thomas Eberlein.
How are you doing? I'm Tom Eberlein. I'm the clinic director at DARI Clinic. Okay, imagine with me that your health is a boat floating along the ocean when all of a sudden, worst case scenario, you spring a leak. You begin taking on water. We've got a serious problem, right? What's the problem? The water. What do we need to do? We've got to get rid of the water. This reactive approach is the current healthcare model. As we begin bailing the water over the side of the boat, we realize we're fighting an uphill battle and it's going to continue. Wouldn't it be nice if we could get down to the root cause of that leak and fix it at the source? That's what we're doing at the DARI Clinic. We take each patient through a 16-movement functional motion analysis before they're in the office with the doctor. This allows the doctor to take a full health history on the current presenting symptoms of the patient, as well as any underlying compensation patterns that they may be presenting with. So at the clinic, we want to make sure that we're a resource for our patients, but we're also a resource for the Kansas City area. We're the only clinic in the area utilizing this technology that is open to the public. And we want to make sure that if you're the corporation that's looking to reduce your healthcare costs, we can help with that. If you're the physician that's looking to longitudinally track patient outcomes, we can help with that. Or if you're the trainer that's looking to optimize the performance and reduce injury for all of their clients, we can also help with that.
Guys, over the last 10 years, DARI's been in development, but we've actually had a business name for the last 5, and we're actually having an open house on March 6th, and we completely invite you guys to come out on March 6th and feel the technology, get to integrate with it, okay? And I like to finalize this with last 2 statements, kind of why are we here? 1, we just want to say hello, Kansas City, hello, the world, we're here, we exist. And that, we realize there's a lot of different tech capital companies and venture companies and firms that we want to work with you. We want to make this an awesome product, something better than what it is right now. But at this time, we're concluding our presentation and we'll move on to questions.
Great stuff. Question right here in the front.
So I'm looking at this, and immediately what came to my mind was how awesome it would be to engage with the Blue Valley CAPS sports medicine program, and also, their engineering program as well. Have you guys done that yet?
Yes, we've actually been working with the CAPS program for the last 2 years. We take interns. They come and they're applying and learning the technology, and even to some degree we take interns. I believe we have a local intern right now from the CAPS program.
Question on your left.
Hi, I wondered if you've yet worked toward integrating this with EMR systems or other software programs?
That's a great question, and that's where we're going. We've actually have 2 systems with Cerner locally, and they're tracking it for healthcare and wellness, but we see the next kind of steps being integrations directly into EMRs. They even have different software packages, not just for I'm coming in, I had a total hip replacement, to even athletes and developing something for their electronic medical record. But we're free to open with anybody. We want to get this information out. We kind of see it like the next x-ray. Oh, you got an x-ray, you got an MRI, and you got your DARI evaluation.
Got a question here in the back in the middle.
Hi, I was wondering if this is applicable to children. So could you run the same test on, say, age range 3rd through 5th grade?
The system, every system has its pros and its cons. This system is a markerless system, and it's cloud-based and based off of the human figure is how the biomechanical algorithms work. The person needs to be at least 4 foot tall, so kind of the 3.5 to 4 foot tall range is the lowest we've worked with, and different age groups will vary, but I think the youngest we've worked with is about an 8-year-old. So depending on their size will actually be the critical factor between the movement. But pediatrics and tracking children is definitely a hot spot.
Question for you right up here.
It sounds like you've been in business a while. What is your revenue stream? You know, what do you charge for your products, and what's your net sales?
That makes sense. My background is in developing the science and the innovation and patents. We actually have a couple other pieces of the puzzle here, and they're going to talk on it. If we have a microphone, we could kind of redirect this to Ryan Como. He does a lot of our business integration and working with different partners, if that's possible.
Over the last 3 years, as we've kind of developed very organically, you know, last year we were right around $800,000 in sales. As far as the cost of the system, it varies depending on the service level and the subscription level. So a custom build, custom technology build for SOCOM is going to be a different price point than, you know, something like we would install at Missouri Orthopedic Institute in Columbia. But typically, it's a 2-year contract, and at the end of the day, people can expect to spend right around the $300,000 price point for the technology, the custom build, and the full suite of services.
Question left rear.
Where's the R?
Dynamic Athletics is kind of our parent company. So we have the Dynamic Athletics Research Institute. When we actually founded it years and years back, I was thinking it was going to be a place to test equipment or devices, and very quickly this turned into not just testing and evaluating and doing research, but actually becoming a preventative model and getting out there and being very proactive. So when we started getting out and telling this to people, we went to an acronym of DARI, and everyone just calls it DARI, DARI, DARI. And to the point now where you'll see DARI, but it's kind of DARI Sports, DARI Clinic, DARI Impulse, and that's where we're kind of going with our name recognition right now.
Got it. Can lawyers use this?
So
I'm in a lawsuit over a disability with a ladder collapse.
There's a lot
I'm
of
coming
stuff.
to your open house, and I want you to take a picture of my crushed heel.
Perfect.
And have you talked to Toby at iVerify? Can the CIA use this to help? I mean, I watched Person of Interest last night. Can't we track people?
Maybe. I mean, that's what we're doing. We're tracking people. A lot of stuff when I built this and designed it, I wanted to get baselines on people. I want to see you when you're healthy. That's the kicker. To say, hey, you're not hurt, come in and get an eval. Oh, why do I need an eval? I'm not hurt. Then you get hurt and you say, why didn't I get that pre-screening? Because with that baseline, now we can look at you and say, what were you? What was your 100% and are you getting back there? So that's the perfect model, but a lot of the models that have been adapted right now are related to current rehab models that say, these are industry standards, these are things that we want people to get to, here's a left versus right score, and taking that logic. So best case scenario, you get your own baseline biomechanical data and we compare you to you and track your percent changes, not you compared to an industry standard. He's built differently than me and I'm built differently than you. Trust me, that has a huge difference in your movement patterns, okay? So we want to get to individualized medicine. So I think the answer is yes. Working with the legal teams and the law firms, it's a possibility. We want to grow into that. Because of our name being Dynamic Athletics, we kind of see that as maybe a sports agent using this to longitudinally track an athlete and say, yeah, Peyton Manning hurt his neck. Is he back to what he was? There's no more ifs. But take that and now you can extrapolate it to your everyday life.
Got a question here in the center.
Hi, about 4 or 5 years ago, I was evaluating motion capture packages for a video game, and the markerless systems weren't even really high enough fidelity at the time to play back and look good in a game. How long have you been able to get this level of precision, and did you have to customize it yourself to get it?
So marker-based technology, what was talked about in the beginning and kind of what people are used to, the Pixar put the dots on you. It's been around for 30 to 40 plus years, easy. Markerless motion capture has really only been in existence for about 5 years. It's completely in its infancy. And every year it makes staggering improvements in resolution and its capabilities to collect on a person. Right now, what we're able to produce with this type of hardware is extremely accurate, extremely repeatable, and it doesn't get as confused. That's kind of the nature of what this is getting at. You don't lose body segments. It's able to track you with a lot of fidelity.
Question here to your left.
Hey, Patrick, I'm really glad to see you guys here. I've had the privilege of having an inside view for the last 18 months on this. There's a company here, I think, that presented that you guys should connect with, and that's UHoops. I don't even know if it's capable, but how mobile are you guys right now? The static system is amazing. It's really cool to work with and be inside, but do you have the ability yet to take that out into the field?
So right now we have what's called a semi-permanent solution. It can be disassembled and it can be moved, but it's basically a day process to do all of that. So you kind of want to have some permanent space, but it can be multi-purpose space. This type of stuff is a laboratory and you can move it around so that it's not quite mobile yet, but we are working with groups like Cerner to create a mobile or portable, simple solution that's faster, and you hopefully can see advancements in that specifically in 2014. But another point I want to hit on with dynamic athletics is we utilize markerless motion capture to kind of zoom in on the body and get extremely accurate data. But we realize that that's only a room that's 15 by 15 or 20 by 20. You do a lot more movements outside of that, and we're actually developing other pieces of technology like the Fitbit, or like the Nike Fuel Band. We are actually produced what we call the DARI Impulse, and it's an inertial-based unit that we track, and when you're off-field or when you're out in your daily life, you can track data. When you now have outside the laboratory and laboratory settings, you're getting a better painted picture, and it's all found on the vault. It all integrates so you have one report and one integration step.
Question here in the back.
So you kind of started talking about what your path forward is. Can you talk about kind of what you see in a year or two being set up and whether you can track multiple people, that kind of thing, a little bit more? Also, you're talking about prescriptive diagnostic, or at least you're starting to lean in that direction. So can you talk about the FDA considerations of that and where are you with that question?
The first question, the one thing that resonated with me is tracking multiple people. In this system that we have, you can actually track up to 4 at once. We don't really go that many. We don't see a huge purpose in that yet, but we do track 2 people. So you can have a therapist actually interacting with a patient, or you can have a person doing drills and being very reactive to another person. The system is actually quite robust as far as that goes. When we start branching out in our business plan, I think there's a couple different areas from technology to or just straight up business. But we're looking to attack 3 verticals of sports, healthcare, and military, and working through our partners that we've developed over the past 2 to 3 years, and really kind of volumizing and scaling in those aspects. We really feel like we've spent the time to polish our product at this point. As far as the FDA and related to those type of things, I'm actually going to direct that question to Tom, our medical director, and let him kind of answer those.
We try to really approach the fine line. We're not diagnostic and we're not healthcare. We take the technology. Myself, I'm a doctor, so I can be diagnostic. I can interpret the data from the DARI system and use it with patients, but the system itself is not diagnostic. And that's important that we kind of keep those distinctions as we move forward, just for the purpose that you said. I mean, we don't want to.
We want to go to that line,
lines, right?
We just don't want to cross it.
Right.
We still need that human expert to interpret data.
Got a question here in the center for you.
I was curious about the software side. Is all of your application development done in-house, and are you guys storing that data in-house also?
I'm going to direct that to Ryan Moody. If we could have a mic, if anybody has one.
Yeah, the answer to that is yes. It's all proprietary in-house, and we're a cloud-based solution, so everything that we do is stored in our own privately built cloud.
Question for you right here.
I have a friend who's shown me his videos of his golf swing at least 300 times. Can he come in and do an analysis with you guys, and what would it show?
Generally, through our development curve over this decade, we found that it's kind of a building process. We start off with that 16 movement functional screening, or whatever screening our end users want, and you find out limitations that they functionally have. You move into more explosive movements, see how they produce those explosive movements, and then that kind of pinnacle is a sport-specific or a fatiguing sport-specific. The golf swing, if you have a problem with your golf swing and you can't rotate in a certain range of motion, and the coach says, all right, you need to rotate farther. Okay, how do I rotate farther? Well, we found out on your functional screening you actually have muscular restrictions and adhesions that you need to have treated before you can even think about swinging like that. So even though you collect that golf swing, you really don't use the golf swing that much. You need to start fundamentally, and you can advance to the golf swing, but if he came in, he'd get a full golf swing, full evaluation of functional ability, yada, yada, yada. But as he comes back for treatments and progressions, he's probably just going to be doing functional screenings for weeks, if not months, until he's, what we believe, kind of ready for golf. That's what you would expect from a sport-specific or a skill acquisition analysis.
Question on your left.
Hey, it sounds like you guys are really focused on breaking into healthcare. So I was just kind of curious, how you've been breaking into the sport industry a little more. I know there's a lot of college, athletic training, kinesiology programs that use other programs like Dartfish, and I'm sure EA Sports has their own sort of motion capture programs. So I was just curious, do you have any clients in the sport industry already?
Yes, kind of our biggest one and our flagship on that is actually an Australian rules football team in Melbourne, and they track their entire roster weekly. So we're talking 30 to 50 athletes, depending on it, tracked weekly, and we actually do all of that in 2 hours and produce a report rather quickly, only in a matter of minutes. That's a full team diagnostic report with their logic. So if 50 guys are scanned or evaluated, maybe only 4 have percentage changes that our end user believes are problematic and need attention. So in doing that, they actually had enormous success. They've had it for a couple of years now, but the last year they had a no ACLs, 0, which has never happened in their club's history, and every single compensatory injury was flagged 2 weeks before it happened. So they could say, yes, you're going to have this injury, it's coming down the pipeline, your degradation is going down, performance is going down, stress on your body and restrictions are increasing, but that doesn't really change the attitude of, well, they still have to play. And we went from a model of, can we identify these, can we see these things coming, to, yeah, now we're working with these end users to say, how do we stop these from happening? We're actually now starting to affect that healthcare model and what they're going to do as a prescription. So we look like we're going to be getting into a lot of different teams this year professionally. That's why we kind of existed. When I was developing this, I called it dynamic athletics, because I was thinking, you got Tom Brady who's getting millions of dollars, he blows his knee out. Is he going to be what he was? How do you know when he returns to play? And so there is a huge market for sports, but any way you look at it, whether it's sports, healthcare, or any kind of development, it usually has some sort of taste or realm of healthcare.
Question right here.
2 years ago, we designed a low-dose X-ray machine for ER, and they accidentally ended up on Grey's Anatomy and got incredible media hype, attention that they didn't even expect. Have you considered product placement? Your technology is visually interesting and beautiful. If you got into a futuristic movie set 5-10 years from now, it would create a lot of hype about the technology, which should definitely drive your exposure.
That's an awesome idea. I love that. Let's do that. I think one thing I want to stress on, just related to that, is we've really spent the time, I want to say, to do it right, where we didn't just say, we got a product, let's open the doors and full-fledged on. We took some time to develop the product, go to people, go to end users, say, is this a tool? Nope, here's your problem. Well, let's go back to the drawing board. 2, all right, now we have users in each one of our verticals. What was their user experience? What did they need and take from it? So what you're talking about, I actually think that's what we want to do. This is the kickoff on A Million Cups to say, yeah, we're ready to do that. So I would love to do that. If anybody's got any information on that, talk to me afterward.
Got a question here to your right.
Thank you. What a cool presentation and a very versatile product. It's very neat. Thank you for the presentation. What I was wondering was, what is the minimum amount of hardware that you need in order to collect enough information? So for instance, in a clinic versus a sports team versus in the field for military application, what are you actually using to collect the data, and how could you make that as minimal as possible?
So traditionally, if you were to come around and say, why isn't everyone doing this? Everyone's got motion capture. We actually have patents on processes and on specific technology points that we'll talk about right now. We only use a motion capture system. It's 14 to 18 cameras that go back to a vision processor, which is essentially a hub, a computer, and then a laptop runs it. That is it. Now, you have to strategically set up your cameras to be at the right viewing points to do everything, but that's all the hardware you need, and whether it's military, healthcare, sports, it's the same hardware. Doesn't matter if it's a 2-foot box, 10-foot box, 20-foot box. There are some restrictions, and we want to customize it for our end user to be as seamlessly integrated in for them, but there's no other extras. It's just that. Now, what makes us kind of the wow factor and why we're here and other people aren't, we've got rid of force plates. So normally you'd have to put the marker balls on, and you have to stand on basically a carpet square, and you'd have to do your jumps, and you have to do your movements, and that would tell you your ground reaction force, and then you could do inverse dynamics to calculate the stresses on your joints. Well, now we removed that technology. You don't need to buy it, you don't need to install it, you don't need to integrate into it. So we've removed hundreds of thousands of dollars. But also, removing the cost of this, we've actually sped it up. So now, what we just did for you in literally like 60 to 120 seconds, somewhere in there, that would have taken any other gate lab or motion capture facility probably a week to produce that. So when we say we take a team's worth of 200 to 400 data files and get it to you in about 2 hours, that alone would have taken another facility a year plus, just to get that, and we do it weekly. So those are kind of the integration steps of why we're here and others aren't, and related to whether it's a healthcare install, a military install, or a sports install.
Question here in the center.
My name is Garrett Kinsman. I'm an interface designer. What other applications have you considered? The first things that pop into my brain are national security or even gesture controlling of devices. We're in an age where trying to figure out a better way to interface with consumer electronics, using cameras and gesture controls, maybe even particularly your hand, without motion dots, seems like a really, really powerful idea.
It is a very powerful idea. The wearable technologies and the integration into gesture is extremely huge. It's going to explode in 2014. Related to what we do, that's definitely a product realm. I could even direct this kind of to our tech guys to let us know, like, what do you think we're developing? What are the next steps we're going to do as far as interfaces go?
Well, that question really is just a matter of focus. It is definitely possible. However, our company is more focused on the biomechanical outputs and application in military and medical performance in human data. I think it really just comes down to our business is focused on a different area of that, of motion capture. So it's not really that we couldn't do it. It's just that we have enough sort of on our plate at the moment with just getting the biomechanics data accessible to hospitals to divert focus onto that at this point.
But that's something I think we'd like to work with people with. I think that's one of the points of Million Cups, is to say, that's an idea, that's great. Can you bring that as an asset, and can we develop something together? There's a lot of stuff that you guys are going to think of that we haven't, and that's where we want to go with it.
Question for you right up front.
So if you're looking to branch into healthcare, in terms of your brand image, with the name Dynamic Athletics, DARI, you have these heavy blacks and reds. Are you still looking to develop your brand image?
I think so. Over 2013, I mean, this slide, you see a lot of black and red. That's where we started, but we've been integrating in different color dynamics, blues, reds, yellows, greens, in our branding locally, and we see that actually kind of evolving into other people's marketing material. So if it's an orthopedic institute or if it's Cerner, they're branding it their way. We want people to see this. You may see it around and go, oh yeah, someone else is doing that. And it's actually our system, but it's presented how they want it to be. What you'll see is their branding on their reports, their logos, their everything. This would say Cerner, and you would think it's it. All that you would see from us is that it's powered by DARI Sports. So we want to have our end users still be the experts. And I think a lot of the branding actually comes into them on the product development side of things.
All right, one last question for you right here.
I realize that we're talking about biofeedback right now, but have you thought about synaptic connection problems with youth? With all this firing that's going on in their brains, that's getting in the way of them acting in a normal, what we consider a normal way. I could see this type of thing really helping the healthcare industry help these kids.
A lot of people will say this is orthopedic, it's bones. You know, this applies to people who have bones. That's a very simple buzz phrase we say around here. But neurologically is absolutely in there. A lot of stuff I did in masters in our development is your brain can tell you to do something, but doesn't mean your body's going to actually do it. Or if you have neurological deficits, we could actually track those potential improvements. Have anybody heard of concussions? Yeah. Let's not talk about the impact score and you answering just questions. How about how does your body react to a stimulus and are you responding like you did before your concussion? So the neurological aspect of it is one-to-one as much as orthopedic and a total hip.
All right, we are out of time. Sorry, get them afterward. But want to give you one last chance, final word. What can we, as a room full of 200 plus, do for you to, well, can't say make it amazing, it's already amazing, but whatever you want it to do. How can the community help you?
Guys, knock, knock, we're here. Kansas City, we're open our doors. It's billable to insurance. You can come in, you can use it. We want to let you guys know that we're here, and that's what you guys can do for us.
All right, everybody, thank you for coming on another Wednesday. We'll see you next week. Oh, our presenters are up here. Take a look at the jewelry, take a look at the system. If you didn't get a copy of the announcements, there are plenty floating around, but be sure to put them in the recycling box.